Hello, Sacral Beauties. Welcome to the SheSacral Podcast. If you're new, I'm your host, Lindsay Christian, and I help women recover from chronic burnout. We have been talking all about the abundance wounds, but for this episode, it's going to be a little special because we're going to talk about generational abundance wounds. So you may have grown up with hearing stories like, we worked hard our whole lives and still had nothing to show. Or there may have even been unspoken beliefs or lessons like abundance just isn't for us no matter how hard we try. Generational wounds are formed when the nervous system will inherit not only DNA, but also the emotional imprints of survival from those who came before us. You may have seen parents or grandparents that have worked multiple jobs, taken on overtime shifts, or sacrificed dreams to keep food on the table. And they taught you that no matter how hard you try, you'll probably end up stuck in that same struggle. Historically, there have been depressions, recessions, or displacement that carry scars that linger. Entire communities have learned to survive through relentless labor while access to wealth was blocked or stolen. Some families watched everything collapse despite being loyal and making sacrifices. A parent who gave decades to a company only to lose their pension, a farmer whose land was taken or devalued, a factory worker that was discarded when industries moved overseas or technology made shifts. And these betrayals carve a deep imprint that the system will always take more than it gives. There could have also been cultural conditioning. Many cultures glorify the grind, but rarely teach wealth creation. And there could have also been a silent inheritance. Sometimes there were no stories, but you felt the weight, the exhaustion in your mother's voice after work, the fear in your father's eyes when the bills piled up, the bitterness in your grandparents' tone when money is mentioned. These imprints become a part of your nervous system blueprint. So this isn't laziness or lack of ambition. It's a survival code that's been inherited through generations who truly lived that reality. But if it isn't healed, it convinces you to repeat the same pattern, even when the opportunities to break free do exist. So if you're ready to start rewiring your nervous system around abundance, I created a free 7-day abundance reset guide that you can download in the link below. When you carry the generational wound, it shapes not just what you believe about money, but how you behave with it, how you view others with it, and how much capacity you allow yourself to receive. So the first pattern can look like mistrust of wealth. Deep down, you don't believe that wealth is safe or sustainable. Even when opportunities arrive, your body completely resists it. It says, "What's the point? It's not going to work out anyway." So you either ignore the opportunity or you cut it before it grows. Next is going to be resentment towards ease. Seeing others move through life with financial ease can trigger this feeling of judgment. Wealthy people are labeled as lucky or corrupt, privileged or greedy, while struggle is glorified as being noble or real. And this resentment is a shield. If wealth is corrupt, then it's safer to not pursue it. But underneath it is grief that you're longing for a reality you were taught that wasn't possible. We could also be sabotaging growth. When things finally start going well, your nervous system may panic. Progress feels unsafe because your family taught you that it always falls apart. So you can quit prematurely, spend impulsively, or abandon consistency. And subconsciously, you'd rather be the one to pull the rug than wait for disappointment to blindside you. How many of us try to flip the script when we start to feel uneasy or nervous because we don't want to be blindsided? Next is going to be playing small. Now, we covered a lot in this in the under-earning wound, so if this part that I'm going to share with you resonates, then definitely be sure to listen to that episode if you haven't already. Instead of chasing big dreams, You choose what feels safe. You stay in underpaid jobs, avoid leadership roles, or accept limited lifestyles because aiming higher feels pointless. If generations before you worked so hard with no payoff, then dreaming bigger starts to feel naive or even dangerous. Next is going to be inherited burnout. You may repeat the same cycles of overworking and depletion that your parents or grandparents modeled. Working long hours, constantly hustling, and sacrificing your health, even if your circumstances no longer really require it. It's less about present reality and more about the loyalty to your family code and understanding that, well, this is just how we do life. And then last is going to be the silent sabotage. Sometimes the pattern is invisible from the outside. You look productive, responsible, maybe even successful. But behind the scenes, you're undercharging, you're avoiding investing, or you're letting opportunities pass you by. And because the nervous system seeks what's familiar, you keep recreating the struggle, even when stability and abundance is right in front of you. So generational wounds are not just passed through stories or behaviors, but it can also live in the body through epigenetics. So I want you to think of your DNA as like a library of books. The books themselves, which are your genetic code, don't change. But epigenetics decides which books get open and read and which ones stay closed. So essentially, which genes get turned on and off. Chronic stress can actually turn on genes that are linked to inflammation. So your body can become more reactive, leading to conditions like arthritis or gut problems. When the body learns safety, then those same genes start to quiet down, reducing inflammation, and then restore balance back into the body. Or mental health. Trauma in one generation can activate genes that are linked to anxiety or depression in the next generation. So children or grandchildren who lived through war, famine, or systemic oppression often carry higher risks, not because they lived it directly, but because the stress signals marked their DNA. But what's really powerful is that the switches are not permanent. Practices can regulate the nervous system through breath work, rest, sacred acts of pleasure, connection, and safety cues. Turn off the survival genes and turn on the healing ones. So it's not that you're erasing the genes, but you can change the way that your body is responding to the genes. So now I want to break down something that's even more interesting, especially for women. You could be carrying the stress wounds from your grandmother. If your grandmother lived through war, migration, poverty, or even heartbreak, her stress hormones were imprinting not only on your mother's developing body, but also for you. Beyond that, when you were in your mother's womb, you absorbed her emotional and hormonal state directly. So her fears about money, or stresses about survival, or beliefs about worth, all shaped your nervous system before you even took your first breath. And then I want to cover something that's even less talked about, is that your father can also pass stress genes down as well. Sperm carries epigenetic markers that are influenced by your father's diet, stress levels, and trauma history. And those markers affect the way that the placenta is developed. And since your placenta is your first environment, your life support system in the womb, it also shapes your growth and your stress regulation, and even your baseline relationship with safety. So this means that both your mother and your father's stress can literally shape how safe or unsafe your body feels with abundance. And this is why generational wounds can feel so heavy. You're not just carrying your own lived experiences, but you're also carrying survival experiences from those who came before you. It is written into your very cells. And when it comes to your nervous system, all of this can cause for you to be on high alert, always scanning for collapse. The lost job, the broken system, the rug being pulled out from underneath you. Even when life looks stable, the body's always bracing for impact. And because struggle may have been normalized in your family and lineage, being tired, feeling heavy, and overextended feels like the natural state for you, even when you're no longer in the same external pressures. So until you start to teach your nervous system otherwise, that becomes a script running your life. It's the haunting feeling that no matter how much you give, work keeps you alive, but never sets you free. Even when money does flow, you may unconsciously spend it quickly, give it away, or abandon opportunities. Why? Because the nervous system doesn't believe that stability is actually truly possible, and abundance feels temporary. So you treat it temporary, and it vanishes. Each collapse or feeling of stagnation feels like evidence of your family's story. Unlike lineages that have passed down assets, land, or businesses, many families pass down only burnout and exhaustion. Wealth can slip through their hands, leaving no inheritance, no stability, and no roots. So how can we begin rewriting this generational story? Number one, I want you to name the inheritance. Acknowledge the stories that you carry that are not yours. Start honoring your ancestors differently. Instead of repeating the things that they've gone through, honor their sacrifice by creating ease that they worked so hard for. Their survival gave you the chance to write a new story. While we covered so much today when it comes to uncovering these hidden codes that keep us from abundance, you also have special codes that are designed for you to have the abundance designed for your life. So if you want to know what your secret moneymaker is, then be sure to follow and subscribe so you get notified when that next episode is released. Thank yourself so much for showing up today, and thank you for tuning in to the SheSacral Podcast.